Hi, Dr. Patrick Gentempo here, and thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel. We have great content in store for you. I'm so excited to be here with you, and let's jump right into it.
And then as I was leaving that meeting with the director of the program, because about half my committee probably believed in the resurrection and the other half did not.
Okay.
And so they were a nice balance. But he said something to me. He says, oh, by the way, don't tell us the resurrection happened because the Bible said it happened.
Wow.
And I was trying to act like, and I thought he was saying, as so many people think today, I thought he was saying, you can't use the Bible. That's not what he was saying. Bart Ehrman, who's the best known skeptic in North America, if you don't quote the New Testament, he will. Now, he's like the spider. I don't know if this is true or not, but when you hear the story that spiders know how to run across the web because they know which ones are sticky and which ones are not.
Right.
The critics will only quote verses that they know have good reasons behind them.
Right.
My professor didn't care one iota if I used the New Testament, expected me to use the New Testament. Liberals will use the New Testament. Just know which strands of the web you're walking on, know why you're doing it. So that got me into a lifelong study of thinking the way critics think. And if the critics are right about the Bible, the New Testament, if they're right, do we still have a resurrection?
Interesting.
And that was what my dissertation really came down to.
So, when you concluded it, how different was the final paper versus what you thought it was going to be when you started?
Actually, probably pretty close because by that time I had already studied the event for about 6 years, more than that. And I will always remember I was pastoring before I finished my PhD. And I sat in my living room one night because I still had doubts about my faith, even though I never let on with my people that I had. I mean, all doubts are questions, and we all have questions.
Sure.
And I sat there, and one of the alternative theories against the resurrection bothered me. And I looked the other day, I just pulled this out of my file about 3 days ago. But I took a sheet of paper, and here's what I wrote on it in my living room. What would have to be false in order for this theory to be true? How many refutations do we have? And my point was, I hadn't even started writing my dissertation, but my point was, how many things do I know to be true from the New Testament critically, any one of which will refute this theory?
Right.
And I got all the way down the first page with like 25 reasons, flipped the page over, and I got to about 30 things that would have to be different. I thought, and I made a mental note that evening, I thought, that's the kind of critique I want. Something where I can handle, where I have so many comebacks against a critical theory that, as has happened in some debates, I'll start saying, well, yeah, but the problems with that theory, 1, 2, and I always tell my students, number them, because otherwise they'll think later, yeah, he gave me 3 or 4. He goes, excuse me, I gave you 9.
Right.
He goes like, so I would count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and sometimes the critic goes, okay, I'm good. And so that's kind of the way I started thinking. How many refutations do I have of this? And can we handle anything from any angle that comes at the resurrection? And if it's solid, whenever the New Testament defines the gospel, it always includes the deity, death, resurrection of Jesus. As long as deity, death, resurrection are solid, I don't have to know if I'm a Calvinist or an Arminian. I don't have to know how old the earth is. I don't have to know, am I dispensationalist or covenantal? I don't have to answer those questions. If the center's true, as I teasingly tell my grad students, I'll say, I might take a course on creation with Moses, or I might take a course on the resurrection with Paul. I'll answer those questions later, but let me make sure there's a yellow brick road, and let me make sure there's an Emerald City of Oz, and we're good to go.
So, this is the core of it all. And what have you found to be the toughest, critique or objection to the resurrection?
Someone's going to say I'm cocky, but I don't think there's any great comebacks. The one that probably cost me the worst, the most time, the response today goes something like this. According to my count, my head count, less than 25% of critics actually opt for naturalistic theories anymore. Naturalistic theory is, no, Jesus wasn't raised from the dead. What really happened was fill in the blank. I don't care what you fill in the blank with. Okay, they're kind of gotten away from that in recent years. they go with what I call meta-critiques, big ones that question the whole thing. And the one that's caused the most thinking is, yeah, you got some good reasons here. This is thoughtful, and I understand you're using my Bible. You're using the critic's Bible, and I appreciate you thinking like I think. But here's your problem. You're telling me that I have to believe in a whole nother world, and I don't believe in a whole nother world. I don't know how you have evidence for anything outside of this workaday world, this cement and trees and driving my car and go to work and back. That's the only world I know. So when you tell me, oh yeah, no, I want to talk to you about the world of angels and miracles and where a son of God came to earth, I'm going, you've got some good data here, but something else must be true, because I never see a world like that. That kind of comeback. And so that's a second cognate area I've started moving into. A lot of my friends will get around the objection by saying, well, have you ever heard this argument for God's existence? Because if there's an argument for God and his world is the real world and this is a creation, well then if there's another world, I have to be able to respond on another level. Or the one that I've chosen to work with the most is near-death experiences and afterlife. Because if there's an afterlife, then you can't criticize my effort to talk about the afterlife in the form of Jesus' resurrection. Afterlife, unless you can refute the NDE stuff, which is highly evidential, then don't criticize me on resurrection, because I've already shown you that the door is open.
Thanks so much for being here and watching that video. And can I ask you to please subscribe to our channel so you can find out when we're posting new content. You'll be alerted right away when we do. To share this with people you think might benefit from the information, and certainly it helps us if you like the video. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And again, thank you so much for being here with me right now.